Hey, welcome to Story Hunters. We're based in the most mysterious city of Los Angeles, and we're eager to know if supernatural is real. So, on this podcast, we kind of talk about supernatural things that happen to people, where they basically share their experience. All right, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Hello, my name is Leila, and the supernatural story that I wanted to share was that I actually saw a ghost. I believe in ghosts and spirits and stuff. And the ghost I saw was my cat who died. And I saw her like right in front of me. So I'm going to share that story. Yeah.
That
So,
is,
yeah.
that's unbelievable. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I like freaked out when it happened. So I am my it was so I had a cat named Bamboo. She's a black cat. I would show a picture if I could. But we had her for I've literally had her since I was like born. We had her for like 10 years, so like a decade. And she got pretty old and she got sick. And we took her to the doctor and they said that we would have to put her down. And so we got her ashes and um and that was around 2022 whenever that happened. And it said that like if you are going to see like a past loved one, then it would be around the time of their death. And I would say that I saw her like in at least a week of her passing. So like yeah, I was outside in my front yard and I have other cats too. And I was playing with my other cats. I just had like a string, a toy, and I'm just playing with them and I'm facing kind of the street. I'm kind of facing the street and I like look to my left and I just see my cat that passed Bamboo. I see her standing right in front of me
Oh my God.
and it's kind of like I froze kind of because I'm just like,
Right.
what are you doing in front of me? And it's kind of like uh in like shows or movies, ghost might be shown as like floating or like see-through. She wasn't floating, she wasn't flying, but she was kind of see-through in a sort of way. So I could see her and I could tell it was her, but I could also see like the ground through her. So kind of see-through. Yeah. And she was walking towards me. And so like yeah, I literally was like playing with my cat towards the right, looked to the left, and she was walking towards me. And I froze for I don't know how long it was, but I would say like a while because like she took like one, two, three, 4 or 5 steps towards me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm
Right.
seeing Bamboo. And so like I just stood there while she just was walking towards me and I just watched it until like I blink. That's usually what happened. Like you blink and then like it's gone.
Yeah, the
And
thing
that's what it
disappears.
was.
Yeah.
It just like and then it disappears and I like look around, of course. I'm like, did anybody else see that? Cuz my mom was with me. And so like I ran to her and I was like, did you see like how I just froze? And she's like, no, I didn't see anything. And I'm like, I just saw Bamboo. And my mom believes in all this stuff too. And so she automatically was like, oh my God, I believe you. Tell me more. And so like I told her how everything just happened and how I just saw Bamboo. And she like had passed like the week before. And I was like, I just saw her. This is so crazy. And my mom completely believed me. She was like, I believe that you saw her. And like, I saw her again after that. So I saw her like twice. And the second time I saw her was inside of our house. And I saw her again in the hallway. So we have a hallway, and I was in the living room. and I like looked into the hallway and I just like saw her sitting there. This one was very, very short though. I think I kind of saw her just for like 1 second and then I didn't. And I don't think it was some sort of like I just miss her so much that I'm seeing her. I think I like actually saw her and I can like picture it. I can picture it in my brain of the day that it happened, and I can just remember her like walking towards me, and I can remember seeing her in the hallway and all of this. And it's like a little story that I'll like tell my friends that also believe in ghosts and spirits and stuff. And since we got her ashes, and that means don't can't remember the word. But whenever I saw her how I last saw her. So like as a cat. So it's like I saw her as how she was, but we got her ashes. So it's like that also made me question of like if someone is does like pass on and you get their ashes, but then if you see them as a ghost, it's their full form. Anyways, that's like kind of the story if you have any questions.
Wow. Yeah, I do have a lot of questions. First of all, wow, that is an incredible
Yeah.
story. It's I think it's really amazing because, like I mentioned in one of my earlier podcasts, if you go online and search up some ghost stories, you won't really
Yeah.
hear a lot of like this personal stuff, and it's really important when people are actually sharing their personal, real experience. And I think this is
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, I have a lot of questions for this. But before we jump in, I just want to say real quick, I'm a huge fan of this show called Supernatural. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm,
It's on
I've heard of it.
Netflix. Yeah, yeah, it's super fun. It's about like these two brothers fighting against monsters and ghosts and demons and things like that. And basically, whenever there's like a quote unquote bad ghost that does bad things, they're trying to get rid of it, kind of like Ghostbusters. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is, like in their universe, if you want to get rid of a ghost, you burn their body. So they would literally go in a grave at night, dig out the grave, and
Mm.
like burn the remains of a person. Uh, and once they would burn it, the ghost would literally just disappear and just go to
Oh.
heaven or whatever. So based on what you're telling me, that sounds like that's not it, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
also, um, I'm remembering now, I'm recalling that in this show, if that didn't help, then it meant like the ghost or his spirit had some kind of unfinished business, or they were
Mm.
tied to a thing or a person or something like that. Like, for example, a person had their favorite hat and they were sort of attached to it. Even after they passed, they were stuck on this earth. So, maybe,
Wow.
yeah, maybe bamboo was really attached to you. And although you already had her ashes, um, she was still on this earth. Maybe she was saying goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a
Yeah.
possibility. Um, I want to ask though, when did you see her for the second time? Was it also not long after she died?
Yeah, no, like it was like weeks apart. So she like died. I saw her the first time, which was like the craziest time because I fully saw her. And like the second time was probably like maybe like a week after that, which is like I think kind of crazy because whenever I hear stories, because I like to listen to stories, I always hear that it's always like near the passing. And so kind of whenever she did pass, I was kind of actually expecting to see something because I was kind of hoping that I would see something. I was like, I always hear these stories. I wish I would see something, and I did.
Wow.
So I would say it was basically like a week or two whenever she passed, very close.
Wow. This is incredible. So maybe I don't know, maybe Bamboo really missed you and she wanted to see you several
Yeah.
times before actually, going to heaven. You know, when you saw Bamboo for the first time, and you said she was walking towards you, was she did you feel like she was kind of running towards you? Was she like excited to see you, or she was just kind of like walking regularly?
Okay, I remember like the whole picture. So she was like just like walking towards me, not like running, more just like slowly walking. She was an older cat. So,
Right,
but she was like slowly walking. Her tail was up, which can mean like in cats like they are excited to see you. So
right,
she didn't look like whenever she was before she passed she was really sick and she couldn't really like run or walk that much. So I didn't mention this when I did see her, she did not look sick at all. She looked like how she looked before she was sick. She looked perfectly fine whenever I saw her when she was walking towards me. Um but I would say it was like wow, like happy to see me again kind of.
wow.
Yeah.
That is truly incredible. And it's also a really important thing that you mentioned that you did not look sick, and I think it does matter because whenever people see ghosts, usually if it's a good ghost, it looks good. That's
Hmm.
at least that's what they show in all these TV shows and
Yeah.
movies. And yeah, well, maybe bamboo felt much better, and that's what they all say, like, after people or animals pass. They're like, "Oh, well, they're in the
Mm-hmm.
better world now." That's what they call it, quote, unquote, people call it heaven, where no one really gets sick, where people are, young people and animals are young and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is truly, truly incredible, and one thing that you also mentioned that I believe is very important, that you said it was not just because you missed her so much and that's why you kind of saw her. Like, it's important to
Yeah.
differentiate those things,
It
and I'm glad you did. And it really does sound like it was like an actual supernatural occurrence.
was out of nowhere, just like randomly in the middle of the day.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Also, yeah, the fact that it was in the middle of the day where you could clearly see things around you. It wasn't like nighttime where you could
Hmm.
see some kind of shadow or something like that. The fact that you're seeing the thing clearly really matters.
Yeah.
Like in some of those um like semi-fake UFO videos, always, like, the camera is bad. The camera is bad. Always whenever there's something
Yeah.
supernatural and there's a person filming it, the camera is going to suck. Like, it's never gonna be like an iPhone camera. It's gonna be a really bad camera. So the fact that you were actually able to see bamboo very clearly, is also,
Mhm.
really important. Um,
Yeah, outside daylight, and it wasn't out of like my peripheral vision. It was fully looking for like a 5 seconds maybe.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, peripheral vision is also something really important because I mean I've been seeing things with my peripheral vision, especially when I was a lot
mhm,
younger. Like I would just turn around and there would be no one out there. And this is
mhm,
very interesting because this is something that I also talked to with another person on this podcast who was like who was describing these sorts of beings that he was seeing. And basically, I would
mm,
ask him, "Hey, I had like this peripheral vision thing. Is that similar?" He said, "No, I can actually see them like right in front of me." And that's
mhm,
really a huge difference. Um, one thing that he also mentioned, that I want to ask you about is that he said that he's seeing those things clearly in front of him, but it's not like he's actually seeing them with his retina, like with his eyes, but
mm.
it's more like he sees them, but not in a regular way. Would you describe it that way, like when you saw bamboo, or you literally saw it like as an actual object?
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning that whenever I saw her, I could see her, but I could also see kind of through her.
Yeah.
So that's how I could tell that it wasn't real. Like when I looked over, I was like, wow, bamboo's here, but like she's not fully here. Like she's a black cat, but like she wasn't like a fully black cat. I would say it was more like kind of like
Right.
see-through-ish. So it's like I could tell that it wasn't actually here because she's like she was dead, but like still. So yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, I think this is great. So one thing that I looked at, the form that you filled out. One of the questions that I prepared was, uh, were you absolutely 100% sure that it was bamboo? It sounds like it, but were you really sure that it was bamboo and like no other ghost cat?
I well, the thing is it was like really close to her passing. So it wasn't like it had been a long time and I may have forgotten what she
Sure.
really looked like. It was a it was a I turned from the right to the left and I saw her like fully. So I'm 100% sure that I saw her
Wow.
with my own eyes.
Incredible. Incredible. Um, also, what I wanted to ask you is, has anything else supernatural ever occurred in your life, or these were like the only two things that happened to you that were strange?
I've seen other things if you want me to tell a story of that.
Oh, absolutely. If you're
Have you
comfortable sharing.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Hatman?
The Hatman? No, I don't think so. But it sounds kind of scary
It's
already.
it's it's like a worldwide thing that people see. And here, I'll get the definition for you. It's a paranormal legend about a shadowy tall figure that wears a big hat and maybe a trench coat. And and it's like a tall dark figure, like, but it's like a hat man. And it's people when they see it they will say that it either has like no facial features, or maybe it has like two white eyes.
Wow.
And I didn't know about the hat man. I didn't know what the hat man was whenever I saw him. So but I like watched scary stuff and then I was listening to a story about it, and that's whenever I realized like, oh wow, other people see this too. So
Oh my God.
I can tell you two times I've seen him
Sure.
again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
the first time I saw him was in my backyard. So we this was like I would say around COVID. So this was a while ago. I was pretty young and we had a trampoline that I was jumping on, and there's like a kind of a corner in my house where so I was jumping on a trampoline and I just looked over to the corner of the house and I can like see somebody like standing there in the corner. And it just looked like a black figure, just like a pitch black figure, just something standing there. And it scared me so bad that I
Right.
jumped off the trampoline and I ran inside. And I jumped off the trampoline, I ran inside and I was like hiding. I was like, I don't know who that was. There's somebody out there, mom, go check. I was like super scared. And that's the first time. And I kind of just like honestly, I was just like, whatever. I was like, I guess I saw something. I don't know. I was like 10.
Right. But
And then
you did see the
this
hat,
one,
right?
yeah, it was like a figure. Like you can tell that it looks enough like a human for you to be a little bit scared. And like enough about yeah, and there's like a hat and there's like a it's just like it's very tall, is what I can say. It's very tall. And that's what's like described. And the second time I saw him was, I would say, about 2023, maybe. And even though that was years ago, I can still like remember what I saw. So, let me put a layout. So I'm sitting in my living room and I'm on a couch. In that same hallway that I said that I saw bamboo in, I'm sitting in the on the couch and I'm like, if I was to look straight, I'm looking straight down the hallway.
Right.
And I was home alone. It's nighttime, but I have lights on. So we have outside lights that are around our house that shine inside. And then we also have like a kitchen light on. Like we have lights on. So like I can see, but it's still nighttime. And I'm just sitting on that couch and I was just like thinking, like about whatever. And I remember I looked to the window, which would be to the right, and I was just like looking outside. Anybody at my house? No. Look back to the hallway, and I just freeze again because that's like I just freeze whenever I see stuff. And I'm seeing, I don't know how to describe it. So I'm seeing a figure so tall that its head is hitting the ceiling and it has to bend over.
Wow. Oh my
So
god.
it's pretty tall. My ceilings aren't that tall, but like I would say my ceilings are about like at least 9 foot tall.
Whoa.
So I don't know.
That's very tall.
Yeah, so the figure, um, I can see it has like really long arms. So if it's gonna be that tall, it's gonna have really long arms. It did look like it was wearing some sort of trench coat, is what I just remember. But like you can't really tell whenever it's just like fully a pitch black figure. But like, and then it did have the hat, of course. So that's why I will say that I did see the hat man. Is it did have that huge hat, like Abraham Lincoln hat. And then no face at all. So I just like am looking at the hallway and I'm like, what is this 10-foot pitch black figure that is so tall that it has to bend over? Like its head is hitting the ceiling, so its hat is kind of like also, anyways, since it's so tall and I'm sitting down on the couch, it's almost as if it's peering down at me, it's looking over me.
Whoa.
And this scared me so bad. I remember this scaring me so bad. Um, so I look over and I see it, and I'm like, okay, this is the second time I'm basically seeing this. And I was just like, see, the thing is and yeah, so it's just this pitch black figure. It's so tall and it's just looking down at me. And I remember like getting scared and I like blinked, it was gone. And I like ran to my room and I was locked the door and I was like, I'm gonna wait for my family to get home. I'm not going back out there because I was so scared. And I remember telling my mom about this again. And she was like, "Oh, you saw the Hat Man." And I'm like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And she told me stories about how like other family members have seen that too. And like maybe like my nana saw it or like my mom saw it. And I'm like, "So I'm not the only one who's seen this." And she's like, "No, I've seen it. I've seen it too." And I was just like, oh wow, so is our house haunted or is it us? But yeah, so that's the two times I've seen the Hat Man.
Wow, this is absolutely incredible. And honestly, that's really scary because, like, you know,
Yeah.
when you
But it didn't feel evil.
hmm,
I didn't but it didn't like feel like it was gonna like hurt me. But of course, like it's still scary to see something that you don't expect to be there. Yeah.
absolutely, honestly, that to me that sounded super scary. But the fact
Yeah.
you know, when you see a cat that has passed recently, I would say it's even kind of wholesome. But like when you're seeing a 9 foot tall figure with a hat and no face, I mean that's like
Yeah.
on more of a scarier side of things. But I'm glad you
Hmm.
mentioned the fact that it wasn't scary because earlier today I was talking to another person and they mentioned the fact that they're constantly seeing tall figures. And
Mm.
yeah, and basically they said that they don't really get bad energy from most of them. And
Hmm.
basically they said that they see those beings as if they were attached to other people, um, oftentimes strangers. And basically, um, like to our guests, it seemed like those figures were sort of protecting them during bad times.
Yes.
They were almost like guardian angels. And I think this is truly incredible. And one thing that I mentioned during that podcast, I said, when it comes to something that's really tall and big, like a tall figure, oftentimes you can actually relate it to something good, like someone who can protect you. And
Hmm.
honestly, I think this is incredible. But I've never heard of the Hatman legend. So according to that,
Yeah.
is the Hatman a good guy? Is he safe? Is he, like, neutral?
Um, People say that it can be put to like if you're scared, then you might see him. But it's like, are you like again like fear or like scared, then you might like see him. And so I think that can also be put into like protecting. Like, did he show up because you were scared about something? Maybe because I was home alone, which can be like kind of scary. And so maybe I he came because I was scared.
Maybe, that's a possibility. And again, it
Yeah.
really aligns with, like, what other people are saying. Like, like I said earlier, the guest that was talking to us this morning, she mentioned the fact that, she's kind of getting, bad vibes from people. She's saying that, those people look like they struggle in life, and there's someone who's actually trying to protect them. So I think this is really incredible. And it seems like the Hat Man was there to confront you, to I mean, comfort you. Sorry. I'm already like I'm doing too many podcasts. Anyway, the Hatman was there to make you feel comfortable, maybe. Um, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting because, most people would find such things really unusual and they would get even more scared. But maybe on the long term, these beings, they bring some kind of a vibe that helps them feel better.
Mm.
So, I think this is truly fascinating. And
Yeah.
usually, like, when one supernatural thing happens, this means that you probably have a gift of feeling some things that
Yeah.
are not directly in front of us, that are maybe hiding in the plain sight, but most people just can't see them. And honestly, I'm glad that this is working out for you as a gift. It sounds like it, because some people might say that it's a curse. So it really is important, that it actually helps you, or, adds some interesting stories to your story list. So,
Yeah.
you know, one thing I wanted to mention, though, is that number two seems to be really magical for you. You know, you've seen Bamboo twice, you've seen, the Hat Man twice, and this is interesting. So you
Yeah.
you might wanna look up what number 2 means in, like, energy and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, I've heard that numbers have their own energy and, like, meanings and things like that.
Yeah, like angel
Oh,
numbers.
yeah, something like that, yeah, like angel numbers. This is really incredible. I want to ask you if
Yeah.
you want to share anything else with our audience before we wrap up.
Well, I wanted to say that whenever after I had seen the Hat Man and all of this, I remember I just like somehow brought it up to my mom and I was like, hey, so I saw this, and she was like, oh, Hat Man, other family has seen that. And so of course I'm like, tell me more, tell me more. I want to know. And she's like, he's also like a thing of sleep paralysis. People might see him in that. And so my mom can has had sleep paralysis, and that's whenever she will like see that stuff. And she's so there's that. And then she said that my nana saw the Hat Man a lot. And I was like, I want to know all of this stuff. I want to know who else is seeing it. And she said that it like when she was younger, so like the 90s, they had a house that had a motion light outside of their house. And so um she said that my nana was like um sitting on her bed, and to the left is the window, and the motion sensor light outside went off. And of course she's going to look to the window to see why it went off. and she said that the Hat Man was standing at the window inside the house, not outside, inside the
Whoa.
house. Yeah, and said that his hand was like up to the blinds. You know how you can like just open the blinds with like two fingers just to like peek out real quick. He was doing that, and so that comes back to like a protecting sort of thing. Is like he was also trying to look outside the window to see who was there, and so me and my mom both believe that that was some sort of like protecting, because like whether it was her or the house, it's like it's like my nana and the Hat Man were both like, wow, somebody's here, look through the window. And he's also like, who's in my house? And said that she said that it didn't feel bad or evil either. And that it did feel like it was trying to check who was out there and also protect. And so like I think that just puts everything together for me. So
Yeah, this is truly incredible. And yeah, I think that story really proves it. When you first mentioned it, I thought that, the sensor light reacted to the Hatman, but the fact that the Hatman was the one looking out the window, I think it does prove the
yeah.
fact that he is indeed a good guy who is looking out for, the family. So I think this is truly fascinating. And honestly, with all the, supernatural stigma that a lot of supernatural beings are evil, I think we need to hear more stories that prove the fact that there are more supernatural things that are actually good and they're there to protect you. I think this is really important
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, with all the horror movies and things like that. I think we need to hear more positivity about supernatural beings. And yeah, I think this
Yeah.
is an incredible story. All right, then I really appreciate you showing up today. Thank you so much. This was an amazing podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.